If you had a time machine and could go back to the year 2014, you could watch the release of Murder Mystery 2 and its rise to the absolute top of the leaderboard up to this very moment. Welcome to the complete history of Murder Mystery 2. First, we need to go even further back in history, to the year 2008 when everything changed. Roblox was freshly launched for just over a year, and Nikilis, the creator of Murder Mystery 2, was among the first players to join the ride. His account was created at the very end of 2008 on the 25th of December. For the first few years, he was just a player like you and me. However, after almost 5 years, he decided to take the bite and publish his first game, Trucking Tycoon. You probably never played this game, as this version was available only briefly. After not even a full year, it was made private. Trucking Tycoon was a fixed version of Zafarid's trucker game, but later Zafarid updated the game, and it was again re-released under his own name. Let's not forget that at that time, Nikilis was only 16 years old, and already making high-quality games. Everybody knew something even bigger was coming from the hands of this promising developer, and it came shortly after. On January 18th, 2014, Murder Mystery 1 was released. The game itself was based on Gary's mod game mode called Murder. Murder Mystery 1 seemed so revolutionizing that during the same month of release, Roblox themselves released a game review on their YouTube channel. This put Murder Mystery in the spotlight and pushed the game nearly instantly to the top of the leaderboards. Naturally, a lot of developers wanted a piece of that cake, and many copycats and inspired games were released, such as The Mad Murderer by Mad Studio, which grew side by side with Murder Mystery. At that time, the game was fairly basic. Every player had the same avatar, only the t-shirt color was setting you from the other players apart. Once a map was chosen, you would receive either Murder, Innocent, or Sheriff role. Each map would hold a maximum of 12 players, with one being a murderer, one sheriff, and the rest innocent. There were only a handful of weapons, with some of them having special sound effects or giving the player special skills. There was no such thing as coins or diamonds around. Instead, weapons would be purchased with points labeled as Murder Mystery Cash, which was not earned in-game like coins are now, but you had to spend Robux to get them. After less than a month, the game managed to get 1 million visits, before reaching 10 million at the end of April. This helped Nikilis to win the 2014 Bloxy Award for the most visited game of the year. Despite its popularity, Murder Mystery received a fairly bit of criticism at that time, mainly because with all the players a lot of exploiters joined too. At that time, Roblox experiences weren't as cheater-resistant as today, so it was fairly easy to get your hands on working exploits and ruin the game for everyone. During this time up to late 2014, the game was not getting many updates. One notable update rolled out, and the game got a completely redesigned GUI. However, competitors were pumping out new content at the speed of light, and some of them got ahead of Murder Mystery for a bit. The game desperately needed something new and exciting, so Nikilis announced a completely new version of the game, which was released on December 27, 2014 as a sequel with the label Murder Mystery 2. By the end of Murder Mystery 1, the game had a total of 10 weapons and 16 maps. The new version featured completely revamped maps, additional weapons, and also completely new features like loot boxes and crafting. All of the 10 weapons from the previous version of the game were put into a category named Classic, but later in 2019, they were renamed as Vintage weapons and are featured in the game to this day. Also, promo codes were added to the game. These would always give you a special weapon that is not obtainable otherwise. The first two codes released shortly after Murder Mystery 2 were Reptile and First Code. But if you were one of the unlucky players who were affected by a huge data loss that happened on December 29, 2014, you wouldn't enjoy those special promo weapons for long. This is known as the data loss glitch of 2014. Due to an error in the Murder Mystery code, dozens of people lost all their items and data regarding their playthroughs. As an apology, Nikilis added a special unique knife to the game named Corrupt and gave it out to people affected by the glitch. At that time, it was the second rarest knife in the game, and nowadays is only obtainable through trading. During the last days of 2014, Nikilis managed to release a few more promo codes and a fan t-shirt for 20 tickets, which is now 2 Robux. For those who do not know, tickets were Roblox currency alongside Robux. But unlike Robux, they were earned from the game by visiting and playing different experiences. During the first few months of 2015, not much changed in the game. Nick focused mainly on adding new weapons, loot boxes, and crafting recipes, to give players something to strive for in the game. And one of these new loot boxes was the MLG box with Doritos design. But there's something more you should know about the design in particular. The abbreviation MLG stands for Major League Gaming. During the 2010s, esports gaming started entering the mainstream with Major League Gaming, a professional esports organization, at the front. Various gaming tournaments such as Call of Duty were sponsored by Doritos, alongside Mountain Dew. This quickly became a meme. I am sure you saw at least one of the MLG parodies, in which Doritos are one of the main themes. They were perfect for this type of montages because of their triangular shape, the same shape as the Illuminati. So Nick decided to go with the flow, and released an MLG box with Doritos on the sides. The box was purchasable for 150 coins and included one of 10 possible weapons. But it wasn't left in the game for long. After roughly 8 months, it was redesigned and renamed to avoid copyright issues, and this is how the box looks now. On April 22nd, Nikilis added an Elite Game Pass alongside an Elite Knife given out to people who purchased the pass. However, it wasn't a Game Pass how we know today. You just purchased it once and it stayed with you forever. No renewals needed, so it was more like a premium for your account. On May 2nd, the hotel map was released. After that, we haven't heard from Nikilis for over 4 months. But he brought back something big. On October 11th, a massive update was released. It included a completely new lobby map. The lobby went from this empty city lobby to a beautifully designed city with a fountain up in the middle. He also added a new category to the shop, and just a few days later, also a new map called Biolab. Apart from that, the update featured some optimization features and such. What was also added to the game during this time period was a first weapon pack called Sparkle Time Pack. Sparkle Time Pack was a pack full of brand new common knives. You either had the option to buy one knife at a time of your liking, or buy the whole pack for a total of 1,615 coins. That was quite a deal, as you would spare 285 coins. The pack was later removed from the shop, so although the weapons were only of common quality, they became quite scarce and are now only available through trading. You probably know what time of the year comes at the end of October. It's Halloween, and people love Halloween, so Nikilis started the first ever Murder Mystery 2 event, the Halloween of 2015. The event began on October 29th and was live up till November 4th. The whole game changed appearance into a spooky Halloween themed, and you were greeted with a tutorial window that explained all the different mechanics of the event. The highlight of the agenda was a bingo challenge. Upon entering the game after the start of the event, you got a 3x3 card with different tasks and challenges. Each role, innocent, sheriff, and murderer, had 3 tasks of different difficulty. But why was it called Bingo Challenge? Because, in order to get a reward, you would need to complete a whole row or a column of tasks. 2 of the bingos would give you 150 coins each, and the other 4 were each rewarded with a weapon. If you completed all 9 tasks, you would get an extra weapon of godly quality. That's one of the rarest ones in the game. After the event ended, there were really no updates until the Christmas event started on December 19th. It was running up until January 8th, 2016. Once again, the lobby environment was transformed into a beautiful Christmas look, with snow and Christmas decorations everywhere, and a big Christmas tree in the middle where the fountain was before. In this event, your main objective was to collect gifts. Gifts came in 3 different varieties: a red one with green ribbon, a green gift with red ribbon, and a blue one with white ribbon. But the color didn't matter, as all collected gifts served as a currency. They could have been collected in the game in the same way as coins. Once you had enough gifts, you could exchange them for special Christmas-themed boxes and items. For the first time, there were 2 separate loot boxes, one for knives and the second one for guns. Each box cost 75 gifts. Once you had all the weapons you wanted bought, you could trade redundant gifts for coins, where one gift would give you 2 coins. During the last 2 weeks of 2015, a lot of new content was added. First, Recycler was introduced to the game. Recycler was a feature that allowed you to combine 8 weapons of the same rarity in order to create a new weapon of a higher rarity. If you ever played Counter-Strike, you know this feature under the name Trade Up. Players really liked this feature. It allowed you to essentially get rid of weapons you got from creates that you don't want and get something better. But there's a reason I talk in the past tense this whole time. This feature was shortly after removed from the game. As of right now, there is still salvaging, but it just doesn't have the magic of trying your luck in the Recycler. Then there was a radio that was added to the Game Pass. Radio is what it sounds like. It allowed you to blast your favorite tunes during the game. However, radio is only available in the casual mode that was released alongside it. Casual allowed you to play in the third person and as your own Roblox avatar. The game as it was before was from that point a part of a hardcore game mode. Overall, 2015 wasn't really a successful year. If we look at the graphs, during the second year, Murder Mystery 2 got only 9 million visits, as opposed to 22 million achieved in the first year. The year 2016 was meant to change it and bring Murder Mystery 2 to more new players. So January started pretty strong with another big update. The shop, inventory, and perks were completely redesigned. Also, radio skins were added, and this update included a ton of bug fixes too. A few days after, another new feature was added, and that's toys. Toys were different signs or items you could have in your inventory and use in-game. They were later merged with emotes, but work in the same way they used to. For instance, you can hold a good game sign, or release fireflies from a firefly jar. Then at the end of January, House 2 and Office 3 maps were added into the game. Both coexisted with previous versions of the map environment for a bit. However, House 1 and Office 2 were later removed. Other than that, changes made to the game in 2016 were more or less insignificant. 2016 was a year of adding more weapons, packs, and maps. But a few things are worth noting. Pets were added as cosmetic items that follow you in-game. Murder Mystery 2 was also made available on smartphones, and later also on consoles. All the events from the previous year rolled out again. However, this year, it was more basic in my opinion. Halloween event went from bingo challenge to basic collecting. This time you were collecting candies and trading them for Halloween boxes. During the Halloween event, the first official Murder Mystery merch was also released alongside the official Facebook page for the game. You can see the Nikilis' motivation to push the game to an even wider audience. However, the Facebook page was never really used. Last year, over 8 years from launch, it had only 6 posts in total, and as of today, it has been deleted. Then, during the Christmas event, you would craft gifts from scrapped weapons to get coins that could be used to get a special Christmas box. In the end, it was a successful year for Murder Mystery 2, as Nikilis collected his second and third Bloxy awards this year, one for the favorite updated game and the second one as the best free-for-all multiplayer game. Apart from that, Murder Mystery 2 fully surpassed its competitors and gained over 190 million visits in that year alone. With the end of 2016 and the start of 2017, it was also the start of slower progression and updates on the game. During the first 3 years, from 2014 to 2016, the game received a total of 55 updates, whereas now, the game will not receive 55 updates from this point until late 2023. 2017 was a year filled with new maps. First, Hospital 2 was added, then Mansion 2, followed by the police station map, and the last new map was Factory. Next, the Assassin game mode was added to the game. In this game mode, each player gets a target to eliminate, and you can also eliminate the player who is targeting you. You don't know who that is, but if you can reveal it from their behavior, you can eliminate them. Because if you attack someone who is not your target or who does not target you, your knife will disappear for 5 seconds and you are fully vulnerable. This game mode was never really played much, and also never really updated. It was also in beta for a long time, until late 2023. On February 9th, Murder Mystery 2 reached 300 million visits. The Christmas and Halloween events were nearly the same as last year's, with just different weapons to be obtained. Although Nikilis brought barely anything new to the game in 2017, the game was among the most played ones on Roblox overall. That's also because more and more players just discovered Roblox in the first place, so Murder Mystery 2 was still something very new to many of them. In 2018, Murder Mystery 2 won another Bloxy award, this time for the best lobby. Just a few days later, Murder Mystery recorded 1 billion visits, for which Nikilis was congratulated by Roblox themselves on X. This year's Halloween and Christmas events have undergone minor changes. Halloween presented a 100-tier pass, each tier with its own reward. Every tier could be purchased for 100 candies that were collected in-game. The last tier would award you with Battle Axe 2. Thanks to the format of the event, it's one of the rarest weapons in the game now, as only a few players grinded all the way to the 100th tier. The Christmas event was very different from the Halloween one, but was quite similar to the one from last year. You had to salvage weapons to find not toys like last year but ornaments, and decorate the Christmas tree with them. 2019 started strong with a bigger update called Season 1. Before we start with the changes, let me say the following. Based on the title, it looks like there will be multiple seasons, each full of changes and perhaps a theme to follow. However, this is not the case. To this day, there's no Season 2. Let's talk changes. 3 brand new maps were added, and 3 maps were removed. 21 new pets were added, which from now on can be obtained only from eggs, instead of separate pet boxes. Eggs cost 1,000 coins, which is also the new, higher, price for all weapon crates. A few weapons were added and a lot more were removed from the shop. Lastly, the whole GUI was updated. Inventory, shop, round designs, and almost all elements were redesigned to look more modern and sleek. The Halloween event followed the completely same mechanics as last year, and as it usually goes, the Christmas event has been changed a bit. The Christmas event inherited the main mechanic from the Halloween one, and you would have to gather snow tokens to unlock a total of 30 tiers with different weapons. In 2020, the pandemic started, and with everyone indoors, more players joined Roblox overall, so Murder Mystery 2 also started gaining a lot more traction. Even with this in mind, it's surprising how far the game got in that year alone. In July, Murder Mystery 2 celebrated 3 billion visits. This surge of new players helped Murder Mystery win another Bloxy Award, this time once again for Game of the Year. Other than that, there's not much notable happening in 2020 for the game. Only one map was released, and that's the Research Lab, and a few new weapons were also launched. The Halloween event was a little different, and brought a special game mode called Scary Mode. It was basically Piggy, just in Murder Mystery, you just had to escape from a house, and the rest of the event followed the same format as in previous years. 2021 was very insignificant gameplay-wise. The same Halloween and Christmas event as before. One significant thing happened after all. Murder Mystery had a promotion campaign running with real-life Nerf guns. If you purchased a Nerf blaster, you would receive a special in-game weapon. Although the Halloween event followed the same pattern as previous years, it included a completely new weapon type called Evolution, or EVO for abbreviation. EVO weapons gradually evolved from one appearance to another as you played with the weapon and collected experience. There are currently 3 EVO weapons in the game. The first one is Reaver, which was released as part of this event. The other 2 were part of the 2022 and 2023 Christmas events. 2022 didn't bring many changes to the game. The EVO weapon you would get in the Christmas of 2022 is Ice Crusher. That year's Halloween event was finally really special, bringing completely new mechanics and gameplay. After joining, you would see a completely redesigned lobby with 2 camps, one being survivors and the other zombies. You then had to make a choice to either join the survivors or join the zombies, which was permanent, and you couldn't change your mind. Based on the team chosen, you got access to different rewards in a total of 20 tiers. The event also changed the map pool, introducing old maps that were deleted, like Barn or Mineshaft. Other parts of the event were the same. You had to collect candies to progress through the pass. The same event mechanics were kept also for the Christmas and Halloween events of 2023 and 2024. However, 2023 was a little richer in terms of events. 2023 held a total of 6 events. Apart from Halloween and Christmas, there were 4 other smaller events including Easter, Summer, and Valentine's. These events inherited mechanics known from the major events. This means you had to collect something to progress through a list of rewards. Murder Mystery 2 went through a long history. It's admirable that the game has been holding top ranks on the leaderboard for over 8 years now. While it's true that it is slowly losing players, it has one of the most loyal fan bases I know on Roblox. There is not much innovation going on. After all, I'm not really sure if the game has anywhere more to go. That's also why we didn't see any major changes made for a long time now. But at the same time, does it really need it? I think we all love Murder Mystery 2 as it is.